Open houses. So I always say, Todd, there's two groups of people out there, two groups of agents that say, oh, open houses don't work, and agents that say open houses work. I've we have a
And they're
couple
both right.
we have a couple on our team killed it last year doing open houses. And so for those that say open houses don't work, I often say it's just because you're not doing them right.
That's right.
And that's a whole different discussion for another day of,
Yeah.
of proper techniques and setting up the open houses. But I want to talk about what happens when people come into the open house and then they leave the open house. What is the follow-up strategy? So first of all, for us is set the appointment. If you've got somebody in front of you having a conversation with you, we always say on our team, there's two primary goals. Number one, collect data, get their phone number, get their name, phone number, email address. You've got some great tools such as our mobile app and things like that to be able to collect that, and try, based on the conversation, try to set that appointment before they leave. And then whatever you say that you're going to do for them, do. Oftentimes agents just kind of, just lose track of time or whatever the case is, promise someone, hey, I'm going to send this to you today, and then they don't send it to them until tomorrow. Well, you're already starting on a bad foot if you do that. And when I'm setting an appointment with someone, I don't ever make it a yes or no question. I don't say, hey, Todd, would you like to get together this week and go over the comps of your house? Or would you like to get together this week and do this? It's not a yes or no proposition. I give them two options, knowing my calendar. Hey, Todd, looking forward to meeting you and Lynn. It's Tuesday at 5 or Wednesday at 2. Which one of those two work the best for you? The moment that you give someone the opportunity to say no, they are going to take it. And then, of course, any information that you gather on the spot, again, names, phone numbers, email addresses, any notes, any things that from that conversation need to be entered into your CRM. And I try to, my rule of thumb is do that before the end of the day while the information is fresh.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
Well, I just was going to jump in real quick. If you have a CRM system and you're utilizing it correctly, you can actually build a sign-in landing page through that CRM. So it takes one of the things out of your to-do list after your open house. As they sign in, it automatically drops them into the open house. Then you can schedule a drip to go out. That could include a link to your mobile app, include a link to your website, get them on a property. So there's other things that you can start doing that you might be talking about. But again, CRMs are a great way to leverage that sign in instead of having a piece of paper and a pen.
Both suggestions are fantastic. On this particular topic, Mike, you guys nailed it. But I will just say this. There is a law out there, and many agents are misunderstanding this. I saw this in the Agent Real Estate Forum the other day. And what it is you are not allowed to use a game of chance for collecting consumer data, knowing that the data that you're collecting is not solely for the game of chance and then it'll be burned and incinerated. You're planning on recontacting those people, and because you are, that's what makes it a violation of law. So realistically, don't say to somebody, oh, if you fill out this form, I'll put you in the drawing for a $350 gas card at the end of the month or whatever it is. You can't do that. It's against the law.
All right, perfect. All right, point number 2: develop your follow-up cadence. So this is critical because you have to, when they leave, you always assume that they're not going to respond to you, they're not going to get back to you. So you have got to develop a cadence. We do this with internet leads. Typically on an internet lead, it takes an average of 7 attempts for them to get back to you. So you can't give up after 1 or 2 attempts. They are not likely to call you. And so, as we always say every Monday, just handing them a business card is not going to work. You just can't hope and pray that they're going to call you. So you need to develop your cadence. How often and how will you follow up immediately following the open house? For our team on new leads, we have a 7-day cadence that involves multiple attempts each day. A lead comes in, or I meet someone, and then I start tomorrow. If I don't get a hold of them, these are the 3 things that I'm going to do. The next day, these are the 3 things that I'm going to do. And the moment that I get a hold of them again, then the cadence disappears. But we at least have a plan, and we know that they're generally not going to get back to you. It's that agent that makes the most noise ends up having the better chance of getting the deal. Again, they generally don't respond right away, no matter how the conversation went. How many times have we thought that was the greatest conversation? I got a $1.5 million listing, and then they ghost you and so forth. And so I always assume that most people they're not ready to talk until they're ready to talk. Until they're actually ready to do something. So keep on them. And then after that, whatever that cadence is, you still maintain a follow-up system, whether it's once every 2 weeks, once every 4 weeks, whatever the case is. You have to develop some sort of intent. This is what I'm going to do. And again, of course, leverage your CRM to remind yourself of the cadence and when and what you're going to be doing.
So one of the comments you made, Mike, was once that you've established that reconnected with those people, the cadence goes away. I want everybody to understand there's a new cadence that just comes in place because the situation is there is nothing that is a 1-point thing. So, but here what Michael's saying is he's saying that he's developed and the people on his team use a system. And so systems are great because they standardize your service and they guarantee that every consumer, well, if you've implemented it, that every consumer that you come in contact with is going to get the same level of effort, the same level of service. And so that's a really good thing because when you're busy trying to do all the aspects of real estate, the last thing sometimes we're thinking about is, did I do everything with that client? What are they walking away with perceiving my service as? So this is great, Mike.
And the third thing is then set up auto reports. Obviously, hopefully you've collected some data. So if they're a buyer in the neighborhood, go into Armless, set up a search for them so that they are getting something from you that is automated. I was about 6 weeks ago, I went to an open house with a client. I never allow my client to register at an open house. I register for them. And so this guy, he sends an email like, here's the 7 newest listings in the neighborhood. I get these frequent reports and I'm like, it's brilliant. Yeah. But set up something so that just pretend that they're a buyer and that they're looking in that neighborhood. They're obviously interested in the neighborhood because they wouldn't have stopped into the open house. And so just go into Armless and sometimes just do it on the spot with them if you're having a good conversation. If they're a homeowner, whether they're in the neighborhood and or out of the neighborhood, and you know where they live and you know that they own their home, set up a neighborhood report for their home. You can it's the exact same process in Armless as setting up a home search. However, if you have an I Found Agent website and you have the premium package, I would set it up through there. I love this because every single person, if I get your address, yeah, you're in. And you now get, you get notifications from me. You get a monthly report, plus you get an email with every new listing and every new closing. The best part about it is it's driving them to your website as opposed to being driven to Armless. And then lastly, if you don't have any of these, but HomeBot's a great alternative. It's not my favorite, but if you don't have an I Found Agent website, I think it's a great option.
And we have lenders that are offering that HomeBot too.
Correct. Yeah, the HomeBot program is great, but you are going to be co-branding yourself. The I Found option, it's not the premium accounts, Mikey. You can actually do this seller drips for any account that you have. It's a $30 add-on, which in my opinion is super cheap because you are focusing on sellers. And right now in our marketplace, there's not a lot of tools to get eyeballs in front of sellers. There's a lot of buyer programs, but getting in front of a seller, trying to initiate conversation with them, there's not a lot of drips that are out there. So it's a pretty great tool.
And a lot of times, Mike, you also mentioned, just any leads, even if it's internet leads. The problem is that everybody in some ways tries to convert people into buying right away. And although that is ultimately the primal desire, the point is sometimes you have to talk to people and just friend them. And here's the other thing. If you overpressure somebody or you stop listening and you start trying to drive them, what ends up happening is that when they come in contact with someone who's interested in buying and selling, you're not going to get that lead. They're not going to say, you know what, I just met this great guy, Mike Weinstein, and and I recommend you contact him as well.
Yeah. So, it's just a matter of, again, it's just a matter of systems. So somebody leaves that open house and you collect their information. What is happening?
One more plug for React starting tomorrow. What Mike just went through is pretty phenomenal information. If you're not 100% sure how to start building these systems out in your own business, please take some time tomorrow. Sign up for the React program. We're going to be going through how to do all of these things through the I Found websites and through the mobile app and CRM. So please get signed up.
All right. So with that, we are